hardest working radio show in the business. The Charlie Kirk Show.
All right, welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. Andrew Colvett, executive producer of this fine show, joined by Blake Neff and Alex Marlow from Breitbart News, also hosts the Alex Marlow Show.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a little bit. I want to tell you guys about YREFI. Great people at YREFI stood by this show through thick and thin. We so appreciate them. And they, of course, help you if you have defaulted or distressed private student loan, which, by the way, totals over $45 billion in this country. I wonder if they got to update that statistic because they've been doing enough work in this field. I bet it's down now. I bet it's less. YREFI refinances distressed or defaulted private student loans that others will not touch. YREFI does not care what your credit score is. YREFI offers a 3-minute rate check without any credit impact. That's right. So no credit impact, 3 minutes. You find out if your credit is terrible, they don't care. They'll still work with you. Their whole goal is to make sure that you get a payment that you can manage with your monthly budget. So if you are just ignoring this mountain, this stack of bills that's just piling up on your kitchen table, you don't have to do that anymore. You can get ahead of this. You can work with YREFI, and they will give you a solution. You can even skip a payment every 6 months, up to 12 times without penalty. You do not have to ignore this burden on your life anymore. Go to YREFI.com. That's YREFY.com, or call 888-YREFI34. That's 888-YREFI34. May not be available in all 50 states, but check it out. You owe it to yourself and to your friends and your family that may be on this loan with you. So if mom and dad's on that loan with you, or if your mom and dad out there listening and you got a kid on it, you do not have to live this way. Free yourself from this debt burden. All right, we are about to welcome back national radio, and we're going to get into it. We're going to play all the Mamdani clips. We are going to have a live reaction. And here's the real scary part, Alex, is that this is the Democrat Party.
Yeah.
We got Hakeem Jeffries and Kathy Hochul have now come in behind the communist Muslim from New York City. We'll be back in just 1 second. All right, welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. So we got to play some clips here. We got to get you up to speed on these Mamdani clips because they were basically the news story this weekend. So I want to start with, I think, the most egregious, and that is him invoking Islamophobia after 9/11 and talking about who the real victims were. Play cut 55.
I want to use this moment to speak to the Muslims of New York City. I want to speak to the memory of my aunt. Who stopped taking the subway after September 11th because she did not feel safe in her hijab.
Yeah, I have a few things to say about that. So first of all, it's not confirmed, but some people have looked into his alleged aunts. And so first, he's from like a mixed background. So I think, I don't know if we have the image of it, but he appears to only have one known aunt on his paternal side, which is the one with an Islamic background. And she was living in Tanzania when 9/11 happened. And there are no photos of her wearing a hijab. So this may all be quite exaggerated or possibly even made up, though we must prepare ourselves. We're going to inevitably get the the swoop in where they'll say, actually, in the Indo-Ugandan community, auntie is just used as a term of respect for any older woman who's looking for. They do that crap. So we're dealing with that. But two, it's also just fake. Like, so some people have reacted and said, like, oh, boo-hoo, people didn't like Muslims much after they murdered 3,000 Americans for no reason. But the more galling thing is it's just the complete opposite of reality. You can look at the polls, or you could just remember it if you're old enough like me or you guys to remember all of that we got this giant charm offensive towards Islam. Bush came out and he said, this is not Islam that did this. Islam is a religion of peace, even though Muhammad was not a man of peace, and in fact repeatedly urged his followers to take sex slaves from enemy populations. But we can talk about that later. And so you can look at Pew Research. They asked, do you have a favorable opinion of Islam after 9/11? And it went, who went up the most in how positively they viewed Islam after 9/11? conservative Republicans. They went from 35% favorability to 64% favorability, higher than everyone except liberal Democrats. Everyone went up in how they viewed them. And then, of course, we went and we spent $2 trillion nation building in Afghanistan, a 100% Muslim country, and Iraq, a 95% Muslim country. We let in millions of immigrants from the Middle East. We continue to do this. I think we let in 250,000 Afghans after that war ended. And so we basically went all out to welcome tons of Muslims. Vast majority of them are not really contributing that much to America, in my opinion. A very disproportionate share of Somalis, Afghans, and so on are just on the dole, effectively. And then this slime ball is coming out, and he's guilt-tripping us because he says his aunt felt uncomfortable wearing a hijab on the subway. Nothing actually happened to her, unlike, the 3,000 people who got blown up on 9/11. And then he's coming in and he's saying, oh, my campaign platform is we need to up taxes on white neighborhoods so we can funnel more money to, my ethnic compatriots, which is what he's running on. He literally says, tax white neighborhoods more. Mm-hmm. That is what he says. It's just so despicable.
Can we hear the clip again? There's a part I want to point out, which is kind of unbelievable.
Yeah, 55. Go ahead and throw it up.
I want to use this moment to speak to the Muslims of New York City. I want to speak to the memory of my aunt. Who stopped taking the subway after September 11th because she did not feel safe in her hijab.
Say it again, just in case they couldn't hear you.
There was that huge pause there, and you think he's going to say, my aunt was on one of the planes.
Yep.
But instead he says, no, she couldn't take the bus after. Because the real bad guys here...
And not because anything happened.
No.
She felt uncomfortable. Maybe people looked at her weird.
Perfect point. It's not like she also got stabbed on the bus or she got evil eye on the bus. No, she felt nervous about being on the bus.
I can think of a lot of people who feel uncomfortable in various Western countries going on the bus or on the train. I wonder, compared to 20 years ago, I feel like something happened in
white
Britain,
guys here.
in
How
France,
many of
that
you,
makes people less likely to do that.
How many of us are taking the bus first? Like that's our first mode of public transportation if we go to New York.
Nope.
I don't think I've ever taken a bus in New York. I've been there 50 times. I'm taking something else other than the bus. And the thought here is not just who the victims are, which obviously he's saying the victims are the Muslims. Who are the bad guys? New Yorkers.
Americans.
New Yorkers are the oppressors in this scenario.
It's not really New Yorkers. Let's be honest. What he's really saying is somebody who looks like Daniel Penny.
Yeah.
Those are the bad guys.
White
really
New
is.
Yorkers.
And this is the whole shtick. I actually put out a tweet this weekend. Like he's playing the victim like a good little communist is trained to do.
Yeah.
Because what they do is they're going to weaponize grievance politics in order to say the oppressors deserve all that's coming for them. And it feels like this is a mask-off moment for Mamdani because he's so ahead in the polls now. He is, all credit where it's due. He is the most talented politician running for New York City mayor. There's not a question. And he's arguably the leader of the Democrat Party nationally, I would say. And he's a good talker. He's got a good line of BS, as President Trump likes to say. And so more on this because this really is the big story. We'll be right back.